Pat went down to El Salvador to see what conditions have caused this exodus. Pat?
And they aren't pretty, David, believe me.
I'm sure.
We've reported on the children killed and wounded in the 10 years of war in El Salvador. We also told you about the war's impact on social services, including the decline of medical care to almost non-existence. Tonight, the orphaned and the abandoned. A Sunday morning in San Salvador. This one seems quiet, peaceful, but the war looms over the city. Here on the outskirts of the capital are the signs of displaced and destroyed families. They have moved in from the provinces to escape the fighting, the squalid condition of refugees. Perched on the hills of what was once a coffee plantation, they have no schools, no medical clinics, nothing but each other. Another impact of the war on the children of El Salvador. Believe it or not, though, these are some of the lucky ones. They still have some sort of home, some sort of family. Thousands of children in El Salvador have been killed in the war. Countless others are left homeless. Some of them end up in the few facilities like this one, an orphanage outside San Salvador, run by the Baptist Church. Cuatro? Oh.
Sí, ve.
The living conditions there were among the best we found among displaced people. The children, on the whole, were healthy, clean, and because of the ignorance of their youth, happy. This little boy with the simple smile is happy, but his story could break your heart. Before he was brought into this orphanage, he was found wandering the countryside. So malnourished, social workers say, he is now mentally handicapped. He looks at the photos of the way he was and cannot understand. But like the rest of his little friends, it doesn't take much for him to lose his cares. A visit from strangers, a song, and we were all lifted from the surrounding misery. Down on the streets of San Salvador, it seems like business as usual. Like in so many impoverished nations, the abundance of a street market hides the hopelessness. The streets are full of vendors, full of soldiers, full of desperate people, including children.
Many of them are homeless. They have no place to go. Over 50% of them are orphaned. They have no father or mother. They have no uncles. They have nothing to fall back on. So they grow in the streets, they sleep on their trucks. They eat whatever they can find. And they have no real promising future for them, nor any care, nor any other ideal to fight for.
Some of the street kids of El Salvador have found their way to shelters. It's not that easy. There are very few of them in this war-torn country. We found one in the heart of San Salvador. It is funded by a Swedish organization. Most of the children here have lost their parents. Some live with other relatives on weekends. Others still call the streets their home, but come to the shelter to shower and feed themselves. 14-year-old Manuel is one of those.
My father was arrested by the authorities. He was working in a sugar refinery, and then he disappeared, and I've never seen him again since then.
After his father was arrested, his mother moved in with another man and left him abandoned. Like many of the others, he is mature way beyond his years.
Sí, ya he pensado eso. Pero hay veces que
Yes, I feel very grown up, and since I was little, I've had to earn money to give to my mother and help her out.
This shelter offers the boys a chance to make a little money by organizing paper routes. This life, for Manuel, is much better than what he has known. He has lived with the war for as long as he can remember.
Yes, I wish it were over, but I've gotten used to living with it, because where I used to live before, we had combats all the time, because the guerrillas lived there and also the soldiers came through.
So with no family, no home, this little man looks to the future.
this is perhaps the biggest tragedy we have. Street children are perhaps one of the fastest growing population in El Salvador.
It is amazing, although I guess not surprising, that those kids, like that guy, seem so much older than they really are.
Oh, certainly. When you grow up in a war zone without your father and you're forced down the streets to make a way for yourself, then yes, you're going to appear a lot older.
Right.
When I interviewed that young man, I mean, he didn't skip a beat. He didn't seem to have to think about what he had to say. He already knew what he wanted to say because he was sort of, I guess, reliving it for us on camera.